Okay, this is the pre-calculus target 2i rational functions retake video. So here we just have to remember some rules. We need to find the y-intercept, the x-intercept, the vertical asymptote, the whole, and the horizontal asymptote. So this is first, so why don't we start with the y-intercept? So the y-intercept, remember you let x equal 0. Now, before I actually do that, you let x equal 0 and find y, I'm going to notice that these really cancel each other out. So when I'm doing it, I'm only going to replace 0 here and here, which makes my calculation a little easier. So I'm going to find y when x is 0. So 0 minus 7 is negative 7. And on the bottom I have 5. And then 0 plus 3 is 3. So it looks like I get negative 14/15. So my y-intercept is 0, negative 14/15. That's messy. Really doesn't like my 4s. That made it even messier. Okay, one more time. Negative 14/15. Okay. Now, this is my whole. The factor that's the same on top and the same on the bottom is actually my whole. So my whole is 3. Because x minus 3, when I set that equal to 0, I get positive 3. Now I actually have to find the number that goes with the 3 by plugging in 3 here. So I have y equals 2 times, when I plug in 3, I get 3 minus 7, which is negative 4. And then I have 5 times 3 plus 3, which is 6. So that looks like negative 8/30. And that can be reduced, both of those are divisible by 2, into negative 4/15. So the y value of my whole is negative 4/15. Okay, my x-intercept is a factor on top that's not a whole. So x minus 2 is a whole. The factor on top is x minus 7. When I set that equal to 0, I get x equals 7. So my x-intercept is 7, 0. Now my vertical asymptote comes from the bottom. And this is all that's left. So it's a factor on the bottom that's not a whole. X minus 3 is a whole. That means x plus 3 is my vertical asymptote. When I set that equal to 0, I get x is negative 3. So my vertical asymptote is this line, x equals negative 3. And then finally, I have a horizontal asymptote if one of two things is true. The degree of the numerator is equal to the degree of the denominator, or if the degree of the denominator is greater than the degree of the numerator. In this case, on top I have an x times x, which is x squared, and on the bottom I have an x times x, which is x squared. So I have a horizontal asymptote, and in the first case where the degrees are the same, it's just the ratio of the leading coefficients. In this case, the leading coefficients are 2/5. And it's a horizontal asymptote, so it's a line y equals 2/5. So let me just make sure. Negative 14/15, 7, 0, negative 3, 3, negative 4/15, and 2/5. Yep. In the case where the degree of the denominator is greater than the degree of the numerator, then the horizontal asymptote is just y equals 0. Okay, number 2. This time we have to build the equation. So I have f of x equals, and I really don't use the y-intercept, and I don't use that part of the whole. But I know my x-intercept is 5, so the factor that goes with that is x plus 5. And I know my vertical asymptote is 6, and the factor that goes with that is x minus 6. And then we have a whole, and the whole is negative 4, and the factor that goes with that is x plus 4. Remember, wholes go both on top and on bottom. And then finally, my leading coefficient is 3/5. So that's it. 3. And I did this wrong. You probably caught my mistake before I did. The factor that goes with 5 is x minus 5, not x plus 5. So this should have been x minus 5. And then x plus 4 is right, x plus 4, x minus 6 is right. So 3/5, and then that. And one more time, this is top, this is bottom. So the x-intercept's on top, the vertical asymptote's bottom, and the hole's both. And then this is just the ratio of the leading coefficients. Okay. So the following are practice problems. Show them to myself or a math lab teacher. And here they are, number 1 and number 2. Good luck.